Excellent. Let's move on to our second technique for today. And this one is completely different from L'Oreal, especially. This one is to use anaphora or epistrophe. Anaphora or epistrophe. I know these look like big, intimidating words, but honestly, once you know what they are very easy to use. So let's start off with anaphora. Has anyone heard of anaphora before? Raise your hand. Not one person. Wow. Okay. So anaphora is when you start consecutive paragraphs or sentences with the same words. I'll say that again. It's when you start consecutive paragraphs or sentences with the same words. So one of the most famous examples of this comes from probably the most famous speech of all time. I have a dream. Martin Luther King's speech. If you look at the script of his speech, he starts each of those paragraphs with I have a dream, and then he says something. Then I have a dream, and then he says something. And it's that repetition which has made that message timeless. Now, I want to give you a more concrete example of anaphora in the modern world. And to do that, I'm going to show you a quick video clip of a speaker you may have heard of called Barrack Obama. Now, Barrack is a little bit of an anaphora addict, to be honest with you. He uses it all the time in his speeches. So as you're watching this 60-second clip, I want you to write down moments when he uses anaphora, and then we'll come back in and discuss them as a group. If you can't hear the clip for whatever reason, shout at me and I'll try and fix the problem. But you should be able to hear it now if you turn up your volume.
The God-given promise that all are equal, all are free, and all deserve a chance to pursue their full measure of happiness. For us, they packed up their few worldly possessions and traveled across oceans in search of a new life. For us, they toiled in sweatshops and settled the West, endured the lash of the whip, and plowed the hard earth. For us, they fought and died in places like Concord and Gettysburg, Normandy, and Khe Sanh. This is the price and the promise of citizenship. This is the source of our confidence, the knowledge that God calls on us to shape an uncertain destiny. This is the meaning of our liberty and our creed, why men and women and children of every race and every faith can join in celebration across this magnificent mall.
Okay, so if you notice some anaphora there, raise your hand and tell me what you got. So let me come to Rosie first of all.
Well, he started off with all are, and then he moved into for us.
Okay.
Then he moved.
Hang on, let's save some for other people, Rosie. That's two good ones there. Ona, did you get some too?
Yeah, I got for us. For
Yeah.
us, I think it's just about 3 times, and then the last this and this.
And Helen, did you get any others?
I got the 3 that the other 2 have spoken about, all for us, and this is the.
Yeah, I think there was also this. And you can see, hopefully, that the repetition of starting the sentence in the same way, it sticks with you more. The message really hits home a little bit harder. And that's something you can use in your presentation. If there's a key part that you want to stand out, use anaphora. Use the same start to sentences so that you can make your message more memorable. Okay, but we're going to also talk about epistrophe. Now, epistrophe is essentially the opposite of anaphora. So instead of starting consecutive sentences or paragraphs in the same way, you actually end consecutive sentences or paragraphs in the same way. A famous example of this is from Abraham Lincoln, his Gettysburg Address. He said, we are going to create a government for the people, by the people, and then it was something else about people at the end. I've forgotten it, but essentially he ended it 3 times with people and everyone remembered it, apart from me in this instance. But I'm going to show you once again another clip of Barrack, our pal, using a bit of epistrophe. And I want you to notice how he uses that effectively to galvanize the crowd in this instance. So I'm going to play a clip again. And you might have to turn up your sound for this one more, because it is quite faint. It is a little bit more faint. So turn up your sound, and let's see if you notice the epistrophe in action.
Written into the founding documents that declared the destiny of a nation. Yes, we can. It was whispered by slaves and abolitionists as they blazed a trail towards freedom through the darkest of nights. Yes, we can. It was sung by immigrants as they struck out from distant shores and pioneers who pushed westward against an unforgiving wilderness. Yes, we can. It was the call of workers who organized, women who reached for the ballot, a president who chose the moon as our new frontier, and a king who took us to the mountaintop and pointed the way to the promised land. Yes, we can to justice and equality.
Okay, so someone tell me, what was the epistrophe there? What was the epistrophe?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can, right? And again, you can see the epistrophe, the repetition helps that message sink in so much that the crowd starts chanting it themselves. Now, I'm not saying you're going to have crowds chanting after you, but again, if there's a key point you want to hit home, use epistrophe to drive that point home even more. This will require you to be intentional. But as you know, to be memorable, become intentional, right?